Biden applauded for swift executive actions on climate. Today, Joe Biden was inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States, and one of the first things he did was to sign several executive orders, including one on climate change. This particular order rescinds a critical permit for the Keystone XL oil pipeline. In response to these announcements, Strategic Communications Director at Oil Change International, David Turnbull, released the following statement. Today marks not only the end of the deadly and disastrous Trump administration, but also hopefully the end of the Keystone XL pipeline saga. We applaud President Biden's swift action to rescind Keystone XL's improperly obtained permits and stop this disastrous project in its tracks yet again. Keystone XL would be a disaster for our climate, a disaster for First Nations communities at the source of the tar sands in Canada, and a disaster for communities across a broad swath of our country along its route. It should have been denied over a decade ago when it was first proposed, and today we celebrate its denial once again. We're pleased to see President Biden, Vice President Harris, and their team get swiftly to work in rolling back Trump's pile of giveaways to the fossil fuel industry. Ensuring that decision makers account for the full climate impacts of proposed fossil fuel projects will allow our government to make the right decisions to reject these projects. We hope these actions signal what the American people need: an administration leading the transition to a clean energy economy. Today's actions by President Biden must be simply the beginning. Our future and future generations depend on it. Native tribes and communities are counting on the president to use the same rationale he's using to kill Keystone XL to stop all projects like it, including the Line 3 pipeline in Minnesota, and roll back the approval of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The United States currently leads the world in oil and gas production, and with our climate crisis growing more dire by the day, we must acknowledge our energy policy is driving it. Under President Biden and Vice President Harris, the United States can become a true climate leader by launching a rapid and equitable phase out of fossil fuel production in line with science and justice. We stand ready to work with them toward that end, starting with halting fossil fuel leasing on public lands and waters, rejecting dangerous pipelines, and ending fossil fuel subsidies.